You ever walk into a room full of people and feel like you do not belong to the same wavelength? They are laughing, talking, flowing, and you are there, physically present, but internally distant. Like you are observing life instead of living it. Like everyone else received a manual on how to exist, and you missed the orientation. That feeling has a name: psychological alienation, and it is far more common than people admit. Because here is the truth no one says out loud. You can feel like a stranger in your own family, in your friend group, at your workplace, even inside your own mind. But the most dangerous part is not the feeling itself. It is the story you build around it. You start thinking, something is wrong with me. I am too different, too quiet, too intense, too sensitive, too aware, or maybe just too much. And over time, that narrative hardens into identity. But let us slow this down. Because feeling like a stranger does not automatically mean you are broken. It often means something else is happening beneath the surface. There are 4 psychological roots behind this feeling, and understanding them changes everything. First, hyper-awareness. Some people move through life on autopilot. They say what is expected. They react how they are supposed to. They rarely question the script. But if you are hyper-aware, you notice everything. Tone shifts, micro-expressions, energy changes, unspoken tension. You see the social choreography happening in real time. And when you see it, you cannot unsee it. That awareness can make casual interaction feel artificial. You are not disconnected because you lack depth. You feel disconnected because you perceive too much. Second, emotional mismatch. Sometimes you are in environments that do not match your internal landscape. You crave depth, but conversations stay surface level. You want honesty, but everyone is performing. You want curiosity, but people are chasing distraction. When your values and your environment are misaligned, your nervous system registers it, and the result feels like isolation. Not because you cannot connect, because you cannot connect authentically. Third, protective detachment. If you have been misunderstood, dismissed, or emotionally invalidated in the past, your brain learns something. It learns that belonging can feel risky, so it builds distance as protection. You show up, but you do not fully open. You speak, but you filter heavily. You participate, but you never feel fully seen. And that distance becomes a habit. You start to feel like an outsider everywhere, even in places where you are welcomed. Because the barrier is no longer external, it is internal. Fourth, identity transition. This one is powerful. Sometimes you feel like a stranger because you are evolving. You are outgrowing old patterns, old beliefs, old social circles. But you have not fully stepped into the next version of yourself yet. You are between identities, between who you were and who you are becoming. And in that in-between space, everything feels unfamiliar, including you. Growth often feels like isolation before it feels like expansion. Now, here is the critical shift. Feeling like a stranger is not always a signal to fix yourself. Sometimes it is a signal to find alignment. But before you change your environment, you must examine your interpretation. Ask yourself, am I truly disconnected, or am I afraid to reveal myself? Am I surrounded by the wrong people, or am I hiding parts of who I am? Am I lonely because I do not belong, or because I do not allow myself to be known? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are clarifying. Because there are 2 types of loneliness. The first is circumstantial loneliness. You genuinely lack meaningful connection. The second is self-protective loneliness. You have access to connection, but you withhold vulnerability. The solution depends on which one you are experiencing. If it is circumstantial, you need new environments, new conversations, new communities, new energy. If it is self-protective, you need courage. Courage to say what you actually think. Courage to admit what you actually feel. Courage to risk being misunderstood again. Because here is the paradox. You cannot feel truly seen until you allow yourself to be visible. And visibility feels uncomfortable when your history includes rejection. But staying invisible guarantees alienation. So what do? Step 1. Normalize the experience. High-awareness individuals, deep thinkers, and emotionally intelligent people often report this feeling. It is not evidence of defect. It is often evidence of depth. Step 2. Audit your environment. Are you trying to connect in spaces that reward performance over authenticity? Not every room deserves your full self, but at least one room in your life should. Step 3. Practice calibrated vulnerability, not emotional oversharing, but small, honest expressions. Instead of saying, "I am fine," say, "I have been thinking a lot lately." Instead of nodding silently, offer your real opinion. Let people respond to the real version of you. Some will drift away. That is alignment. Some will lean in. That is connection. Step 4. Build self-anchored identity. If your sense of belonging depends entirely on external approval, you will always feel unstable. Develop internal validation. Know your values. Know your standards. Know what energizes you. When you are anchored internally, external differences stop feeling threatening. You can be different without feeling defective. And here is something deeper. Sometimes feeling like a stranger is not about social connection at all. It is about self-connection. You might feel detached because you are disconnected from your own emotions. Emotional numbness can mimic alienation. When you suppress anger, sadness, desire, or fear for too long, you start feeling distant from everything, including yourself. In that case, the work is inward. Journaling, reflection, therapy, silence without distraction. Reconnecting with your internal world reduces the sense of external estrangement, because belonging starts within. Let me say something important. You are not unusual for wanting depth. You are not broken for craving real conversation. You are not difficult for needing authenticity. But you are responsible for building spaces where those needs can exist. If you continue placing yourself in environments that shrink you, the feeling will persist. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are misaligned. And alignment requires action. Sometimes that action is internal. Sometimes it is external. But it always requires honesty. The goal is not to eliminate the feeling of being different. The goal is to become comfortable with it, because difference is not the enemy. Disconnection is addressed with courage. Courage to evolve. Courage to relocate socially if needed. Courage to open up. Courage to stay when discomfort is just growth. Courage to leave when discomfort is chronic misalignment. Feeling like a stranger is not your final identity. It is a signal. A signal that something in your life needs clarity. And clarity is power. When you understand the psychology behind the feeling, it loses its mystery. And when it loses its mystery, it loses its control. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and start asking, "What needs adjustment?" That shift alone changes everything.